everyone. So this is a video about division, okay? First, I'm going to show you division with remainders. I'm going to show you some division that ends equally and division that equals equally with zeros, how that ends equally with zeros. And then I'm going to show you how to divide division, decimals with division, okay? And so I'm going to start out with division with remainders, okay? So here we go, my little setup going. We have 2 divided into 5, okay? And this is all about remainders. Some of you have asked me in the past, and I get this question a whole lot, is, well, how do I know on the test what they want me to do? And I always say, well, look to the answers. They'll give you multiple choice answers. If it's like 2 with a remainder of 1, and then 5 with a remainder of 3, 10 with a remainder of 9, something like that, then you know that they're going to want you to do division with the remainders. Now, if you look at the answers and it says 2.1, 0.5, or something like that, then you know you're going to have to deal with decimals, okay? Whatever you do, you cannot have an answer with a remainder and a decimal. That would never happen, okay? All right, so 2 divided into 5. 2 can go into 5 twice. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. So you're going to put the R, capital R up here with the 1. Now, you can check your answers also when it comes to division, okay? All you have to do is do this. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So it should meet what's in the middle of the box, okay? 10 goes into 10 one time. Well, 10 times 1 is 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. Bring down the 6. Well, 10 cannot go into 6. So what are we going to do here? What are we going to put here? Well, it's going to be 0. And then, you see this 6? We're going to make it a remainder 6. So this is how we check our work. 10 times 10 is 100. 100 plus 6 equals 106. There you go. All right. 8 divided into 8 goes once. 8 times 1 is 8, so we have nothing left over. We're going to pull this 1 down right here. Well, 8 cannot go into 1, so we got to put something here. We can't just skip it, okay? We're going to put a 0 right there. We're going to pull this other 1 down beside of it. 8 can go into 11 one time. I'm going to get rid of this 1 so we don't get confused. So I'm going to put the 1 right there. Well, 8 times 1 is 8. 11 minus 8 is 3. So we'll put a remainder 3. So if you do 8 times 101, you should get 108. 808. And then 808 plus 3 is 811. All right. Get rid of a little bit of this. All righty, let's go over to 7 divided into 720. 7 goes into 7 once, so 7 times 1 is 7. There's nothing left over. We are going to pull down this 2. 7 cannot go into 2, so what are we going to put right here? We're going to put a 0. 7 can't go into 2, so it's 0. Let's pull down this extra 0 right here, and 7 can go into 20 2 times. Now, 7 times 2 is what? 14. So 20 minus 14 is with a remainder of 6. So take 7 times 102. Well, that's going to be 714. 714 plus 6 is 720. Okay. Next, we got a long one here. 9 can go into 9 one time. 9 times 1 is 9, so we have nothing left over. Pull down that 0. Well, 9 cannot go into 0, so what are we going to do? We're going to go ahead and put a 0 right here. We're going to pull down that 9. Well, 9 can go into 9 one time. 9 times 1 is 9. I know I'm going into the other problem a little bit. There's nothing left over, so we're going to have to pull down. We can't just leave it there, because I'm going to tell you what, if you leave it there and you go 101 times 9, you're going to have 909, but that's not the answer to this. Your answer is 90,900, okay? So you have to pull this 0 down. 9 can't go into 0, so put a 0. Pull down the other 0. 9 can't go into 0, so your answer is 0. So your actual answer to this is 10,100. If you go 10,100 times 9, you should get 90,900. So just remember, if you have a couple zeros that are just tagging along, you don't have to go through all of this. You can just plop zeros up there. That's fine, as long as you know what you're doing. All right. Okay, next we have 16 goes into 481. Well, 16 goes into 48 3 whole times. 16 times 3 is 48. There is nothing left over. You need to pull down this 1. 16 goes into 1 0 times. It can't go in there. So we're going to put a 0 up here. And then what's left? What do? Well, we have this 1. We have to bring it up and have it as a remainder. Okay, don't forget, 16 times 30 should be 480. 480 plus 1 is 481. Alrighty, so now we're going to go 2 goes into 12 6 times. 2 times 12, or 2 times 6 is 12. There's nothing left over. Bring down the 7. 2 goes into 7 3 times, and then 2 times 3 is 6. Now, this is going to become a 7 minus 6, and you're going to have a remainder of 1. Okay, so your answer is 63 with a remainder of 1. Our last problem with remainders, I'm going to bring it up a little bit so you can see it, is 24 divided into 69. Now, how many times can 24 go into 69? Well, 24 can go into 69 2 whole times. 24 times 2 is 48. And then we got to take 69 minus 48, which is 21. So we have, the answer is 2 with a remainder of 21. And you're probably thinking, well, that's kind of weird. That sounds like a weird answer because this is so small, but the remainder is so big, but that just is how it happened, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to division with decimals. Division with decimals. Now, I drew these 3 different ways because this is how you're going to see some division problems, okay? Your typical one is written like this, where you have the number divided into the box, okay? But we have some other ones that are different. Well, here's the thing. We are not going to have remainders on this. We are going to have division with decimals. So I'm going to show you how you handle that. 20 divided into 26 goes 1 time. 20 times 1 is 20, and you have 6 left over. Okay, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to add a decimal onto the end of this, and I'm going to go ahead and add a 0. Now that I added this decimal, I got to go ahead and bring that up and place it right there. Now I can bring this 0 down here, and I can say 20 goes into 60 3 times, and my answer is 1.3. Okay? Another problem that's just like this one, 60 goes into 75 1 time. 60 times 1 is 60. And you have how many left over? Well, you're going to have 15 left over. So I can't make it into a remainder, so I'm going to go ahead and add a decimal after the 75, and I'm going to go ahead and add a 0. Bring that decimal straight up, and now you can bring the 0 down. Now, how many times can 60 go into 150? Well, 60 times 2 is 120. You've got 30 left over. Well, I still have some left over, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go ahead and add another 0, bring that down, and now I can say 60 goes into 300 5 times. And then that will make it come out with 0 at the bottom. So your answer to this is 1.25. All right, let's do one more problem that's just like this. 6 divided into 33. Well, 6 goes into 33 5 times. 6 times 5 is 30, but I have 3 left over. So again, I'm going to go ahead and make a decimal right there. I'm going to bring it straight up, place it right there, and I'm going to go ahead and add a 0. Now I can pull this 0 down, and 6 divided into 30 goes 5 times again. So my answer is 5.5. All right. I've drawn a few other ones, like I said, that are displayed differently. Okay. So I'm going to do the first one right here that I just erased. And it says 11 divided by 3, or 11 over 3, like in a fraction form. Now, when it's written in a fraction form, the one that's on the top is the one that's going to go in the box. So always remember, if it looks like this, the one on top goes in to the box. So 3 divided into 11. Well, 3 goes into 11 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9, and I have 2 left over. So I'm going to go ahead, add my decimal, go ahead and carry it up here, and place it right there, and go ahead and add a 0. Bring that 0 down. 3 goes into 20 6 times. I'm going to rewrite that one up here so I get more space. All right, 3 times 6 is 18. I have 2 left over again. So I'm going to go ahead and add another 0, bring it down. 3 goes into 20 again, and that's 6. Now, when this happens where you keep carrying on and adding another 0, it is never going to end. Basically, it just keeps on going for a 6, okay? Now, what we used to do is as kids, we used to mark it like this, okay? That means that's a repeating decimal, 66666, and it just keeps going on. But in the world of adult education, unfortunately, they do not have that on the test. So what I'd like you to do is just go ahead and you can write it twice or maybe 3 times and then just stop. Okay? Now, if the actual question asks you to round it, then that's going to be different. So if you remember your rounding days, and we had, say, this as an answer, but we have to round it to the tenths place. Okay? Which number here is the tenths place? Well, it's this one. And we look to the right. If this number over here is 5 and up, then this number is going to go to a 7, and everything else is going to drop off. So your answer would be 3.7. If it asks you to round it to the hundredths place, well, this is the hundredths place right here. You're going to go and look to the number to the right, and since that's 5 and up, this would move to a 7. So your answer would be 3.67. Now, if it was 4 and below, then you just stay the same, okay? And everything else drops off after that place, okay? But got a little sidetracked with that one, but that's how you would handle that, okay? That's in your your rounding days. Okay? All right, so we're going to go with 3.66 and just call it a day. All right, 2 more problems. Okay, we have 2 divided by 13. Okay? What we can do is when it's written like this, it's the 1 on the left. So again, if it's in a fraction form, the 1 on top goes into the box. If it's written from left to right, the 1 on the left goes into the box. So it's going to look like this. Right there. All right, 13 cannot go into 2. So let's just go ahead and place a 0 right there. Okay, so what I can do is I can go ahead and add a decimal. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple zeros. Bring that decimal straight up, and now I can start. 13 goes into 20 1 time. 13 times 1 is 13. 20 minus 13 is 7. Bring down that 0. 13 goes into 70 how many times? Well, I think it's 5. Yes, it's 5. It goes in there. 13 times 5 is 65. Well, now you have a leftover 5. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add another 0. Bring it down. 50 goes into, 13 goes into 50 how many times? Well, 13 times, let's try 4. Nope, that's too much. So it's going to be 3. Well, 13 times 3 is 39. 50 minus 39 is 11. And you know what, right there, what we'll probably have to do is we'll probably have to go ahead and just round it, okay? And I would say, it would probably say something like, we'll round it to the nearest hundredths place. So if we looked at this answer, 0.153, we'd want to find the hundredths place. Well, this is the ones place, or otherwise known as the units place. Here's the tenths place. Now that's tenths with a THS. Then next is the hundredths place. So we're rounding it to the nearest hundredths place. So we're going to look here. We're going to go over to the right. If this is 5 and up, this moves to a 6. But it's 4 and below, so it's going to stay at a 5. And everything else is going to drop off. So it's going to be 0.15 for an answer. Because this may just keep continuing on for I don't know how long, okay? So we'll just go with the answer of 0.15. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to do some of these problems on your own again and stop the video, and then you can watch me work the rest of them out. But see how far that can go. See if you can get it up to maybe 5 numbers and see if it stops somewhere, okay? The last one on this chart right here is 99 divided by 5. Well, which one goes into the box? It's always the one on the left. So 5 goes over here to the left. 5 goes into 9 1 time. 5 times 1 is 5. 9 minus 5 is 4. Bring down that 9, and 5 goes into 49 how many times? Well, it goes in 9 times. 5 times 9 is 45. And you have a leftover 4. Okay, let's go ahead and add that decimal on and 1 0. We need to bring that decimal up and place it right there. We can bring the 0 down. And 5 goes into 48 times. So our answer is nice and perfect. It's 19.8. Okay, next, I've got division, and it's decimals dividing into decimals. Alrighty. Okay, well, first off, the first 4 is not going to be decimals dividing into decimals. I'll get down to here with that. 5 goes into 6 how many times? 1 time. 5 times 1 is 5, and you have 1 left over. Now, when you have this decimal over here, okay, I don't have to move it to the right or anything, because my decimal for this 5, it's a whole number 5, so my decimal's already over to the right. So I'm just going to bring this one straight up and place it. Alrighty. Now bring that 8 down. 5 goes into 18 3 times. 5 times 3 is 15. And I've got 3 left over. We have one more number to bring down. We got to bring down this 5. 5 goes into 35 7 times. So my answer to this is 1.37. Alrighty. Okay, how about this one right here? 4 divided into 0.384. First off, let's take this decimal. Let's bring it straight up and place it. Well, 4 can't go into 0, so we're going to put a 0 right here. 4 cannot go into 3, so we're going to put a 0 right there. But 4 can go into 38 9 times. 4 times 9 is 36. 38 minus 36. Well, you've got 2 left over. Let's bring down that 4, and 4 goes into 24 6 times. So our answer is 0.096. Alrighty, here's another one. 8 divided into 0.192. Well, 8 cannot go into 0, so we're going to put a 0 right there. We're going to bring that decimal straight up. 8 cannot go into 1, so we're going to have to put what right here? We're going to put a 0. 8 can go into 19 though, twice. 8 times 2 is 16. And you have 3 left over, and then bring down that 2. 8 goes into 32 4 times. Okay, so your answer is 0.024. All right. 4 cannot go into 2, so I'm going to put a 0 right here. I am going to bring that decimal straight up. And then 4 can go into 25 6 times. 4 times 6 is 24. And you have 1 left over. Bring down the 2. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12. Nothing left over. But you've got this 4 you still got to bring down. Don't forget those extra numbers. 4 goes into 4 1 time. So your answer is 0.631. All right, now this is where we're finally getting into decimals dividing into decimals. Okay. Well, what you have to do is when you don't have a whole number on the left here, you have to make sure all your decimals are going to be to the right over here on the left, okay? So I have to move this. I'm going to move it 1 time. However many times I move it over here, I have to do the same over here. So I've got to move this 1 time, and I'm going to go ahead and place that decimal right now before I forget. Okay, 8 can't go into 7. If you want to put a 0 there, it's fine. 8 can go into 76 9 times. 8 times 9 is 72. Well, 76 minus 72 is 4. Bring down that 8, and 8 goes into 48 6 times. All right, are we finished? Well, that's a trick question because no, we are not finished. Remember how I said if there's zeros tagging along on the end or if there's zeros tagging along on the front, you need to get rid of them. Okay? You are allowed, if there's nothing in this ones place, to have a 0 there. But beyond that, you cannot have any extra zeros. So your answer to this is 9.6. Okay, how about this one? 0.7 divided into 26.6. Do I need to move this decimal here on the left? Yes, I do. I need to move it one time to get it over here to the right. I'm going to do the same over here, just move it once, and I'm going to go ahead and place it. 7 cannot go into 2. I can go ahead and put a 0 there if I want. 7 can go into 26 3 times. 7 times 3 is 21. That leaves me with 5 left over. Bring down this 6, and 7 goes into 56 8 times. Now, first off, let's get rid of that 0. And then students always ask me, well, do I have to put this decimal afterwards? Well, that's actually a whole number right there, that 38. So we can just get rid of that decimal and take it off. We don't really need it. It can just fall off, okay? Okay. Now we're going to do some more problems. We have 3.2 divided into 0.288. I'm going to move this decimal how many times? One time to get it over here. I'm going to do the same over here, and I'm going to go ahead and place it. It's right in between that 2 and that 8. Well, first off, 32 cannot go into 0. Put a 0. 32 cannot go into 2. Put a 0. 32. Can 32 go into 28? Nope. Put a 0. How many times can 32 go into 288? Well, I'm going to guess, let's see, maybe 8 times? So 32 times 8. Let's see. 2 times 8 is 16. Carry the 1. 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 1 is 25. It might actually be able to go 9 times. Let's see. 32 times 9. 2 times 9 is 18. Carry the 1. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 1 is 28. Look there. 288. It goes in exactly 9 times. All right. Okay. Do I have anything else I need to do? Well, do I have some extra zeros that I can get rid of? Well, this one is like stuck in there. It's locked in there. It has to be there because it's a placeholder. It's in the tenths place. This one right here is in the ones or the units place, so it can be there. This one again, get rid of it. So your answer's 0.09. All right, let's go over to this one. 0.007 divided into 5.32. How many times do I need to move this decimal to get it all the way over to the right? Well, 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. I've got to do this over here as well. 1, 2, uh-oh. What am I going to have to do? Add a 0, you are correct. There's your 3rd time, so it's going to be placed at the very end. Now, I'm not going to say, oh, 0, 0, 0, 7 can go into this. I'm just going to say 7, okay? 7 cannot go into 5. I'll put a 0. 7 can go into 53 7 times. 7 times 7 is 49. 53 minus 49 is 4. Carry down this 2. 7 goes into 42. Well, it goes in 6 times. 7 times 6 is 42. I have nothing left over. Now, again, this is where a lot of students get into trouble because they just say, oh, well, the answer's 76. But, uh-oh, you still have a 0 hanging on there. You have to deal with it. Pull it down here, and then 7 cannot go into 0 and put 0. We have to have that because if you were to go this times 76, your answer would not be what's in the middle, okay? So you have to have that 0. Now, let's get rid of that 0, and your answer is 760. You can get rid of that decimal. You don't have to have it. Alrighty, 3 more problems on this page. 0.008 divided into 57.8. We're going to move this how many times to get it over to the right? 1, 2, 3. Do the same over here. 1, Add a couple zeros. 2 and 3. And it goes at the end here. All right. 8 can't go into 5. Put a 0. 8 can go into 57. Well, it goes, let's see, 7 times. 8 times 7 is 56. We have 1 left over. We bring the 8 down, and 8 can go into 18 twice. 8 times 2 is 16. I got 2 left over. Pull down the 0. 8 goes into 20 2 times. 8 times 2 is 16. Oh, we're almost there. We got a leftover 4 and 1 more 0 to go. And 8 goes into 40 5 times. So my actual answer is, when I get rid of this 0, is 7,225. Remember, you don't have to put a comma there unless you want to. Okay, couple more problems. Now this one right here, it is written from left to right. Okay, so which one goes into the box? Well, it would be the 0.78, the one on the left, okay? So what I'm going to do is I am going to actually carry this up, these last two, to my board here so you can see them really good. Okay, so 0.78 goes into the box. And it's divided by 0.0024. Okay, how many times am I going to move this decimal over to here? Well, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's do the same over here. 1, 2. How many zeros am I going to have to move or put here? 2 more. 3 and 4. All right. Well, 24 can't go into 0. Put a 0. 24 can't go into 7. Put a 0. 24 goes into 78. Well, let's see if 24 times 3 is enough, but not too much. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. And then 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. So that's a good spot. Okay, so 24 can go into 78 3 times, and we're going to put 72 right here. 78 minus 72 is 6. And bring this 0 down. 24 goes into 60 2 times. 24 times 2 is 48. And then 60 minus 48 is, well, it's 12. We got 1 more 0 to bring down. 24 can go into 120 5 times, and that comes out with nothing left over. So, what is our answer? Well, we get rid of this 0, we get rid of this 0, and our answer is 325. All right, let's take this problem that I wrote down here. And the problem says 4.48 divided by 0.008. So which one is going to go into that division box? And if you said it's the one on top, you won. All right. So 4.48 and then 0.008. All righty. I've got to move this decimal over here 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 1 more 0 makes 3. There we go. 8 cannot go into 4, so let's put a 0. 8 goes into 44 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40. And you have leftover 4. Bring down that 8. 8 goes into 48. 6 times. 8 times 6 is 48. So am I done? Am I done? Is that our answer, 56? No. We have this 0 left. We have to bring it down. Absolutely. 8 cannot go into 0, so let's put a 0 there. Now, what 0 can we get rid of? Well, this one is locked in place. We have to keep that. Let's get rid of that one. And our answer is 560. All right. Let's see. Let's do a couple more just to make sure you've got it right. All right, so if I put this, which one goes into the division box? Well, hopefully you picked the 7. And then the 0.25 goes on the left. Now, what are you going to do first? Well, you've got to move this decimal over to the right. How many times? 1, 2. But what am I going to do over here? How am I going to handle this? Well, where's the decimal for the 7? Well, that's a whole number 7. What you don't see is it does have a decimal. It's just you don't see it. Where is it at? It's on the back side of that 7. It's behind the 7. So there's the decimal. Now we can move this decimal twice by adding 2 zeros. And now I place my decimal. Well, 25 can go into 70 2 times. 25 times 2 is 50. 70 minus 50 is 20. And then make sure to bring down that 0. 25 goes into 200 8 times. So my answer to this is 28. Okay, how about one more problem? How about 0.3 divided into 1,884. Now we have a decimal again on this side, but we have no decimal that we see on this side. Well, first off, let's move this over to the right. It goes 1 time. Where is the decimal for that 1,884? It is on the back side, right there. Now that we know that, we've got to move it to the right once, so we're going to have to add a 0, and then we're going to go ahead and place it at the end. We're almost done. 3 cannot go into 1, so let's put a 0. 3 can go into 18 6 times. 3 times 6 is 18. There's nothing left over. Bring down the 8. 3 divided into 8 goes twice. 3 times 2 is 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. Bring down that 4. 3 goes into 24. Well, it goes in 8 times. 3 times 8 is 24. I have nothing left over. Am I done? You should have said no. You've got to bring down this 0. 3 cannot go into 0, so put a 0 right here. Okay, am I done? No, I'm not done. If you said I'm done, you're in big trouble. Okay, I actually have to get rid of the 0 on the front. It's like one of those little nasty zeros hanging around. You got to get rid of it. So your answer is 6,280. That's it. If you followed me so far, you know what you're doing now. You should be an excellent A+ student at division now. See you later.